So just, to spell that out, you don't take
Yes.
pictures. Well, you take pictures, but you don't copy from a picture. You don't have a picture in
Yeah,
front of you while
no,
you're
I
drawing.
don't. I'm not very good at taking photographs to begin with, so I've kind
do
of don't bother.
But that's
If anything,
super
yeah, if anything, I always carry a sketchbook on me. I heard Swain's podcast, and I phoned him like 5 minutes after, and I was like, Swain, gotta put me in touch with Chris.
cool. Seriously?
Yeah.
So you called him. He
Yeah.
didn't sort of sheepishly come to you and
No.
say, look, there's a guy that I owe a favor to. Like, could you please go on his podcast? You know,
No,
like
I was quite ballsy and said, hey, me next.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
No, it's cool. I love podcasts.
I had no idea that would happen. That would only happen like after I did like 50 of these. Like,
But yeah, I kind of started beginning of last year, trying to recapture my happiest moments.
memories.
Memories, yeah,
So
from memories.
All your paintings are, well, not all of them, but some of them are memories. Like
They're all memories, yeah.
what you remember about something.
Yes, yeah. So they're only memories. Yeah, so I'm trying to translate all the feelings that I felt at the time, and for the first time in making, 20 or so paintings that are actually, very emotional. Not just detailed or realistic, but have proper soul behind it, and also not trying too hard to be pretentious and make a statement, on politics or whatever, but just do something that's deeply personal. And interestingly, although these pictures are only really relatable to me and the people I was there with, other people get it. They also feel it. They can relate to it in surprising ways.
Welcome to the Art Investor. So we have a little housekeeping to do this episode. First up, what this podcast is about. Roughly a year ago, I had a rummage around on the internet to try and find a podcast that would teach me about investing in art, and came up short. There were no good podcasts of decent audio quality that blended art and investment. This may have been a bleeding obvious enough state of the world to you, but to me I couldn't believe it. I finally decided that I could, and crucially would enjoy, to do this myself, and this is the result. A podcast that isn't about updating you on art market news, there are plenty that can do that just fine, but rather to provide a platform for conversations with investable, we hope, up-and-comings in an intimate, meaningful, non-salesy way. The stresses are on informality and audio quality, real depth and long-term investing over tweets and flipping. And overall, to have a good time. To hell with how long a podcast should be in a tweet-sized, instant gratification new world. Another thing I was perplexed about when sampling the existing art podcasts on offer was the lack of accompanying visuals. The solution came to me fully formed. For the second half of the interview, each artist brings 5 to 10 pieces of theirs to discuss with us, and you, the listener, search for The Art Investor on your podcast app and set the audio playing in the background while you follow along at your own pace on Instagram. The works are numbered, and during the talk we will keep you abreast of which we are currently on. Every episode is also a slideshow on YouTube if you'd prefer sitting upright. The second bit of housekeeping is a little happy announcement I have to make. Eagle-eared listeners will have come across the previous episode I did with Paul Wellington. He and his art so impressed me that I bought 2 of his paintings that he was just doing the finishing touches on when I visited him in his studio to record. Portrait with Scream and The Egg Collector. You can view them on his Instagram page, at which point you can either seethe with envy or try to figure out what on earth I was thinking. They quickly went on show at 99 Loop Gallery, and the lovely Georgia Stonehouse assisted me. With all that housekeeping out the way, let's crack on and listen to the next episode, my interview with Michael Beckurts. So, we're sitting in the test kitchen.
Yes.
Because Mike's got a exhibition up here, and he knows the owners, and so we're sitting on a Tuesday morning,
9 a.m.
Yeah, in the test kitchen, which is pretty cool, and the people, like the chefs are, the young sort of, like our creme de la creme of chefs in South Africa are sort of practicing their craft in the kitchen. These are sort of like Ferraris of culinary,
Yeah,
what are they doing actually? They're just preparing for.
Yeah, they're prepping, so making the sauces or
So they do this every day.
doing the things,
Yeah.
doing the magical things.
Yeah. Before everyone arrives.
Yeah, I mean, people are only going to start arriving at like 6:30 tonight.
Wow. So they only.
So
So they don't do like random lunches, blah blah blah. They do.
on a
Like,
Friday they do like a lunch or something.
yeah.
But yeah, it seems.
But
I mean,
mostly it's like
we got here
focused
at,
evening.
yeah, we
serious
got here
dining.
at like 9 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
and they were already full. You know, all the people were here already. So I mean, how many? When did they start arriving?
Who?
The chefs.
Oh yeah, no. We got here at 9 and they were all here already.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like how many hours of prep?
I
It's
know.
like
Pretty
probably
ridiculous.
like 10 hours of prep before you even start
Yeah.
cooking
Wow.
for the people.
Hectic.
Yeah, I don't know what their work-life balance is like. But that's another
I've
story.
heard horror stories.
Yeah, sure.
Culinary horror stories about being overworked.
Sure, totally.
Yeah. So have you found sort of like COVID? Have you found COVID? Has it?
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, it's been a tricky time, I guess. But yeah, on the other hand, it's given me a bit more flexibility in terms of schedule, and I study at the Cape Town Creative Academy right now. I'm in the third year, and you know, having COVID just allowed me to be online partially, and it's been quite an experience and given me more time to make my artwork. Yeah, I think we had a few months even just of sitting at home and twiddling thumbs and stuff, and it was quite an interesting time, and I think I used it quite well.
Yeah, it sort of script people. It sort of script people into different
Yes.
careers and different ways
sure.
of doing their work and everything.
It's true.
And the art world has sort of gone online quite a lot.
Yeah.
And so you sort of see people buying up art online without visiting in
Sure.
person. They're much
Sure.
more inclined to do that.
Yeah.
Have you found sort of sales like better now, or you don't have much to compare it on
Well,
because you're quite.
I'm quite new in the scene.
Yeah, we should probably talk about your background. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I've noticed on Instagram a lot more interest has been shown than I'd expected, with random people messaging me or whatever, and inquiring. Yeah, but that being said, I think the most effective thing has been giving people in-person tours at the exhibition. Just promoting it on my Instagram and having unexpected people show up that I don't know and end up buying a painting.
So this is one of your first exhibitions.
Yeah, it's my first solo exhibition.
Awesome.
Actually, my first ever exhibition.
And so cool to have it at the test kitchen.
Not a bad start.
No.
No, it's been
all
a real
downhill from
privilege.
here.
Nah, that's the plan. Yeah. So
and you're studying just around the corner from here.
yes, so I study communication design at the moment. It's at the Cape Town Creative Academy, which is like 30 meters away from here. It's below Potluck. And so yeah, over the past 3 years, I've kind of been hanging around here, and this has become my campus. All the little shops and people knowing me, and sitting down in the piazza and having a glass of wine with the owners of Open Wine or whatever. It's been such a joy and a real honor to be exposed to all these cool shops and cool people and eccentric foreigners in the lifts that are on their way to this expensive restaurant next door or whatever. It's such a unique experience, very different to other universities, I think.
Yeah. So this is run the biscuit mill here.
Yes.
Just if people don't know where the test kitchen is.
Yes, yeah, this is the biscuit mill, Woodstock, and it's this big brick building which has been refurbished, and so there's lots of face brick and black steel and very aesthetic. I'm quite into my architecture, so
Awesome.
I really appreciate
Modern architecture or like old school
I
Georgian?
think
Palladian?
more modern, I guess.
Okay.
Wabi-sabi kind of
Yeah.
old that has been picked up a bit, and
You appreciate a beautiful space.
that is true. And I love to draw them, so that makes more
We're going to
sense.
see it just now.
Yeah, we'll see.
So what would you name as like your early influences? Like, has college done much in that direction?
It
or?
has, yeah. College has helped me a lot in that. I've been studying fine art theory in university, one of my subjects, So that's exposed me to a lot of fine artists in South Africa, like Temba Kumalo, or also my old high school teachers, Catherine Spindler, who's quite a well-known South African artist. In general, it's just kind of pushed me to look past, or to look further than, you know, illustrating, which was what I was very keen to get into in as a career. And I still may, and I do at the moment. So I lots of sketching, and I make posters for a few shops here and there next door, and I find it really fun. But I've really gotten into my painting, and I really want to focus on that as a career.
You caught the expressionist kind of
the bug.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Just happy that I found a style that I really love, and I found it only like a year ago, and so I'm just I'm just glad, and obviously as a young artist it's quite a lot of pressure in finding a style and finding your voice, and I'm lucky that I have quite a few very different styles, as you'll see in the photos, and it seems I mustn't also drop all the multiple styles and focus on one. It's very important that I keep diverse and don't limit myself in just one.
But so was it like, did you feel okay now I'm an artist at some point? Was it sort of like I've crossed the threshold and now I can call myself an artist,
Yeah, I think
because in the beginning it's like quite,
it's true,
calling yourself an artist, and as a kid even,
I think calling myself an art student was quite helpful, but now
first,
I've kind of dropped the student thing.
So did it happen gradually, or do you think it
flip.
Because I remember just studying music college and I never felt like a musician,
I always felt like too young to be an artist. Like, I haven't got a beard, no cigars yet, so but now I can say I've got a cigar. So for sure. I think this exhibition has helped. Now I'm totally confident in my role.
So now, so you think it was it was sort of a moment you had to push through to, or
yes.
it was a moment rather than
it is kind of a wanting credibility for myself, I guess, and I think we all want that. Just in a kind of belief that you are something.
Yeah.
I guess. And I don't think we actually need something like a gallery backing you to call yourself an artist, or a studio, to be a musician or whatever. I think it kind of started earlier on. I always wanted to be an artist, and I started with art classes at an old lady in the neighborhood, and
me too.
Yeah,
as a kid,
Mavis Fall, and she's a legend in Rondebosch, and
who?
Mavis Fall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. She's like, I think she must be in her 80s, and she came to visit me at my exhibition like 3 or 4 times. Anyway, and then at high school and primary school, I always enjoyed drawing people in my class, and and in high school I was underpaid to draw all my friends' girlfriends, which they subsequently dropped. So
that's so funny.
yeah. So I've been there, done that.
So so some girlfriend would be like, oh, says to her friend, look at the sweet thing that my boyfriend commissioned for me, and then she goes, the girl goes, oh, I've got one as well, like in the same style.
I think it's a bit intense, personally, but whatever,
Yeah. Because artists are like sort of it's like that kind of trope. There's so many people who want to be artists, so many people who do it in their spare time and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people,
Sure.
There's so many people who sort of have the gall to call themselves artists and to call themselves performers and stuff. So it's quite like a imposter syndrome thing you have to break through. Whereas with in finance or in coding or in and just any other accounting, whatever, then you have the diploma, like you can do the thing, like you there's sort of much more sort of
it's more formal.
Yeah, there's more intrinsic, like people can like it's more a skill you can do. It's
You can
much
smack down the paper and say, "Here's proof."
exactly, or you can say like
Yeah.
someone says to you, what do you do if the monthly outgoings are lower than the something tax rate of
Sure.
something, and your company is got dual capital structure of
Yeah.
60%.
So I've actually been doing an accounting.
and then you
uh,
say there's the answer.
Yeah. I've
What?
been doing a semester of accounting at university.
Seriously,
Yeah.
it was the toughest thing I've ever done.
Flip.
It was the hardest thing I've ever. I got like 53%.
What?
It was like, maybe I think it was actually 56%, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done because
Sure.
it was so boring.
It's really
so
boring. No, our lectures are pretty cool, must admit. But yeah, I mean it's. I remember high school maths was flipping boring for me.
High school maths.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah, and
not fun.
I went from like barely passing, like
Yeah.
50 something percent to ad maths, and I was doing
Jeez.
ad maths in the last end of matric, but
Sure.
I wasn't that good. I mean, but
Yeah.
I
Sure.
sort of saved myself from sort of mathematical obscurity, and sort of I was doing drama and
Oh, cool.
music
Yes.
and business as my electives. you know.
Wow. Sure.
And yeah, sort of I don't know. I had quite a broad
Yes.
thing, but I saved myself from math lit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's not talk about maths lit. I was actually in maths lit for my matric year because I kind of realized I don't really need a C for maths and matric.
Yeah.
So I was in maths lit with all the rugby team players, all the
So
first team
funny.
rugby players, and me. So it was quite loud. Played basketball most lessons. Yeah.
That's so
It
funny.
was quite fun. Yeah. Anyway.
So one of the major hurdles an artist has to face early on is sort of building the confidence to trust the intuition about a painting. Like,
Yes.
where's this going?
Yeah.
Like, when is it done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, I was previous due to this style, but from before 2 years ago, I often drew in a very realistic way, or I would look at something and copy it naturalistically with a pen or some fine liner or whatever. But as time wore on, in this new style, I've been using my intuition a lot more, or trying to, and I've been drawing from my memory, so that kind of cuts out a lot of the, overdoing things, or overthinking things is kind of cut out because I don't use any references, and that has helped a hell of a lot. So it's a certain memory gives me direction, but then again, I have to stop at some point because memories aren't very sharp.
So just to spell that out, you don't
Yes.
take pictures. Well, you take pictures, but you don't copy from a picture. You don't have a picture in
Yeah,
front of you while
no,
you're
I
drawing.
don't.
You
I'm
do
not
it-
very good at taking photographs to begin with, so I've kind
do
of don't bother.
But that's
If
super
anything,
cool.
if anything, I always carry a sketchbook on me, and so I have a little moleskin or whatever teeny thing in my bag, and sometimes I sit down at a place and draw a picture. Often I draw people sitting in cafes or whatever, which are quite abundant in the Biscuit Mall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of started beginning of last year, trying to recapture my happiest moments.
Memories.
Memories, yeah,
So
from memories.
all your paintings are, well, not all of them, but some of them are memories. Like
They're all memories, yeah.
what you remember about something.
Yes, yeah. So they're only memories,
Okay.
and they're equally special to me. Which is, it's actually gonna be quite tricky to give them away. I mean, sell them, because they're just such a big part of me. But yeah, they're all memories. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, like, what your memories like? Because I mean, our minds and our emotions and our whatever
Yeah.
color our memories. So,
Yes.
and you're trying to.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
very special. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to translate all the feelings that I felt at the time,
Yeah.
and for the first time in making 20 or so paintings that are actually very emotional, not just detailed or realistic, but have proper soul behind it, and also not trying too hard to be pretentious and make a statement on politics or whatever, but just do something that's deeply personal, and interestingly, although these pictures are only really relatable to me and the people I was there with. Other people get it, you know. They also feel it. They can relate to it in surprising ways, although they haven't been to the places or whatever. It's a universal language.
We saw that like last week when we were showing people around.
Yeah.
You know, people were saying, wow, all these different things about it.
Yeah. So it's always fun to show strangers around or friends or whatever, and they would always point out interesting, unique things that I wouldn't have thought about. So yeah, Chris and I was there here last week, and I give private tours on Wednesdays and Fridays normally, and he was there too, and that's where I met him. Yeah, and you were put in contact with me through Swain, which is pretty cool. So I heard Swain's podcast, and I phoned him like 5 minutes after, and I was like, Swain, gotta put me in touch with Chris.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So you called him. He didn't sort of sheepishly come to you and say,
No.
look, there's a guy that I owe a favor to. Like, could you please go on his podcast? You know,
like I was quite bolshy and said, hey, me next.
Awesome. That's super cool.
No, it's cool. I love podcasts.
I had no idea that would happen. That would only happen like after I did like 50 of these. Like.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Well, you're almost there. Not quite.
Times
How many are
there?
Fifth.
This is the fifth,
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
But in my defense, they do take a long time to edit.
Oh, you try too hard. Straight. Yeah, sure. Better be good.
Yeah. So what else? Let me just check. So also, what do you think of sort of shared studio spaces? Do you find?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty keen to join one next year. If anyone has any recommendations, it'd be quite cool. But yeah, I'd love to join a shared studio. For now, my studio is my parents' lounge, which I've kind of cleared out, so that put like
for
2
more
trestle
important
tables.
use,
Of course.
Now it's finally it's reached its proper
full potential.
Yes, this is what it was made for. Yeah.
Sure. Proper use of real estate now. Yeah. Now, so I've got 2 easels and one easel and a big wooden board on the wall with big not granadilla clamps, crocodile cramps, and that's my workspace, and there's big glass windows next to me, so a lot of natural light. So I'm lucky to have a little place like that.
Awesome, yeah.
But I'm very keen to have a more collaborative environment.
Yeah, people I've talked to in various levels, like stages of their career, say, they kind of, it can be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, sure.
You sort of feed off the energy, but also you succumb to the, groupthink and also the criticism as well, which can be kind of good, I guess. They all kind of say, it's something you have to do when you're young, and it's really, it's really beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I already get lots of criticism from my parents and my sister.
No, but
so
it's not the same.
No,
it's not the same. They're not artists, are they?
Yeah. No.
And they're not your contemporaries, and they don't know the scene, so, and it's not the same. So, when is a painting done?
When?
Yeah, when is a painting done?
Okay, so this is important. Normally, a painting is done normally in the morning when it's sunny outside. It has to be sunny. I have to have music in the background. A good Spotify playlist.
You're very clever answering this question in a different way. Because the real way is very difficult to answer.
And an espresso or a tot of brandy really helps. Not at the same time, but
Well, you sort of on the painting.
No, before the painting, and then spill it on the painting.
Yeah. I can see. Yeah.
Now he's saying that because there's actually coffee on the paintings, a lot of them anyway. Pretty fancy coffee. Well, now I have fancy coffee. Espresso Lab next door has hooked me up, so they're giving me their early morning coffee warm up.
Awesome.
Bottles.
So you're kind of sponsored.
Yeah. I'm a rep. What is it?
So, do you listen to other podcasts about art or anything else for inspiration or
So over the past few months, I've definitely been looking for art podcasts, especially South African art, but I haven't really found any. until recently, and that's why I was so excited when I heard about it from Swain. But yeah, I listen to other podcasts. My favorite is The History of Rome by Michael something like that. I just Google it. It's pretty awesome.
He's got some tough English surname to pronounce, you know.
Yeah. And then it carried on for like 400 episodes.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. It took me like 6 years.
It must be 10 years old then.
Yeah, it was ancient. And you can see the audio is really bad at the end, at the beginning, and rather insane at the end. And I began re-listening to it as well, but the audio was just too bad. At the time, I really enjoyed it. Anyway, and then after 400 or so, he said, yeah, it's enough now. It's beginning of Byzantium. And then one of the fans took over, which was pretty awesome. Totally different accents, different part of the world, and just carried on going. Yeah,
awesome.
And they often referred to maps and things, and I was
very cool.
Always behind. But that's the beauty of your Instagram thing, is that you follow along.
Yeah,
in
you
real
can jump
time
to wherever you want.
Yes,
Anyways, so that'd be cool, and it's a good historical document of where people are. And I'll have the same artist on again afterwards as well.
Cool.
So
yeah.
they can,
In 5 years or so.
Okay, so that brings us to the next section. So let's get into the artworks. So what you do for this section is, you search for The Art Investor on your favorite podcast app, and you put it playing in the background, and you follow along on Instagram with us as we discuss the pieces. We'll say we're on image number 1, image number 2, image number 3. You can follow along at your own pace, or you could just go and you could look on YouTube and follow along with the slideshow. That it's like a screencast kind of thing. If you want to sit upright. Cool. So image number 1.
Yeah. So this is an example of one of my styles. Which painting I made two or three. So it seems like ages ago. But it's an example of how I'd be in nature and make quite a detailed drawing. And it kind of shows my influence of illustration and Hergé kind of style, with lots of hatching and then also my love for watercolor, which I've had for ages, and this road motif is quite
very
iconic,
evocative. Yeah.
I remember, Chris, you said that really caught your attention on my little Instagram feed.
What, this picture?
Yeah, this picture.
Yeah, the fact that you could do this as well,
Yeah.
as well as more impressionistic kind of.
Sure.
But I mean, it's bloody brilliant. I mean, it's really good. So this was a commission, and you do these kind of on the side.
Yeah, here and there, especially in high school and beginning my university, making a little bit of pocket money here and there with a few commissions for family, friends, or whatever, which is fun. It's.
But this one you didn't. This one you did do from a reference. So you weren't talking about this.
I did. I did it from a reference. And which is necessary, especially when you want the colors to be super accurate.
This isn't your sort of main thrust of your style.
Yeah, but you can just imagine I do lots of drawings and things on a daily basis of people and architecture and this kind of style.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, if you just look at an acrobat doing something crazy and you just think, wow, I could never do that. That's how I feel like when I look at that. I could just never do that.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Cool. Image number 2.
Yeah, so this is an interior scene of actually where we're sitting. It's rather atmospheric. It's a bit darker actually because it's quite early in the morning still, and the chefs have just arrived, and it's all cooking in the background. But it's just shows how great these pictures fit on the walls, on these like super rough hewn wooden panels, or stripped down paints, whitewashed walls or whatever, and how the natural wood frames and rough charcoal and earthy coffee really blend in, and these lights also reflect a lot, but it's totally chilled because it's just adds to it actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is in the test kitchen
Mm.
at the moment.
Yeah. And with these pretty cool chairs as well.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. And then
Cool. So image number 3.
Yes, image number 3. And this is, I chose to do this for the third one because this is a painting I made of the scene outside, actually.
This is right outside here.
Yes,
This is
yeah.
just as you walk out. Yeah.
It's this really cool square and a wishing well, and these cool staircases and old wooden panels that were taken from the factory way back in the 60s or 70s when it was refurbished or whatever. It's pretty cool.
So very sort of picturesque and quite dark, actually. Like, are the people sitting on? Is like a ghostly someone sitting on the?
Yeah, a good friend of mine is sitting on the bench, and you can see a little lit cigarette that she's having, and she's the owner of Open Wine, which is to the left, and to the right is Test Kitchen, if you think about it that way. And then and there's a very strong coffee in the foreground, which is very warm, and it shows, it kind of alludes to the open doors, that the light is pouring out of the doors, and it's quite late at night, and this painting was inspired by the few times I've been here at night. Twice after a wine event, I designed a wine label for Open Wine, and we were launching the wine, and that was a pretty awesome evening, and then like 6 months later, we were unpacking a few prizes that I've won, which was cool, and so and then the other time was after dinner at the Test Kitchen, because they asked me to make a painting of the interior. So I said I can only do this if I really experience it, So I managed to cop a dinner here, and it's the feeling of sitting outside and enjoying the experience and reflecting on what's just happened and the evening you've had, and really intentionally look at the environment and look at the architecture and just absorb it.
For me, it brings up like it's a fleeting moment,
Yes.
And when you're younger, you think, I'll come. You'll think, I'll come to wherever a million times, like school, you'll like when you go, I don't know. When you know what I mean, like when you go to a special place, like as a kid, you're like, I'll go to a Rose Memorial, or I'll go somewhere random, or I'll experience another picturesque rainy night, like a million times.
Exactly.
But actually, when you get a little bit older, you find that like you'll never experience another rainy picturesque night
like
as
that,
a 21-year-old or as a 27-year-old again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll never have that moment again. So.
And that's also the reason why I made all these paintings, is because these are moments that I knew are gone and need to be recorded. I don't mean totally gone, but I just mean that actual moments.
Fleeting,
It's fleeting, yeah. And my university is almost done, and I didn't know how long I'll stick around at the biscuit mold. And it's such a big part of my life. It's quite and also during lockdown, wanting to go back to university and wanting to get back to this inspiring place, and having to be online for 6 months, which is rather uninspiring. So that's kind of why I made the paintings. Being in this state of limbo and trying to relive.
But so how old are you now?
I'm 20.
20, yeah. So when I was 21, 22, like around that age, I sort of, felt like much more melancholy and much more sort of jaded than I do now. I felt like, and apparently it's not just me. It's like a statistical significance that people in their very, very early 20s, they go through this, when they leave school, they go through this sort of melancholic sort of mourning, the loss of their childhood, and now they're adults, and now they're in the big cruel world,
I can relate to that. Also, COVID is a time of grief. I read an article about it, and how we were all experiencing grief because of a different lifestyle that we have to live. So I think it's a double of that in some regards. Yeah. But on the other hand, these paintings aren't really dark to me. They're full of life, and full of humanity, human warmth, and that's what I kind of always try to capture in my paintings is this human compassion, and yeah, it's just being comforted by the fact that there is still hope and warmth out in the world, and I think that's a lot of is what we're missing in this super competitive and depersonalized society.
Fragmented.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask as well. Like the charcoal is very dark. It's sort of very
yes.
And sort of which is sort of just happenstance. You didn't mean it to be dark.
Yeah, I think we're going back to the first thing about the style being more impulsive, and charcoal is by nature lends itself to going dark very quickly, and being very gestural and physical, and I really love that because you can make a large dent in a white paper extremely quickly. You can knock it out in a few hours if you want to, and I've really loved that, also because memories are quite blurry and difficult to always recollect,
and subjective.
And as you said, fleeting. So charcoal is also, it's such a rapid medium. It helps to capture things quickly. You don't overthink it like a pen drawing.
Exactly, like a dream. You're trying to write it down before it before it goes flees completely. You know?
It's a certain mood that you go into, and then you make a painting.
So even though they're dark, and they could look depressing, they are like a celebration of memories and people and vibrancy.
Yes. Yeah. Should we go to the next picture?
Cool. Image number 4.
Yeah, image number 4. And this is, in fact, these past two paintings are reflected in the first interior scene, which is number 2. And so this picture is a triptych, and the biggest one I've done so far. It's like how much? I think it's probably like 2.5 meters long or something, or 2 meters. And so it's physically was quite a challenge to make it. But yeah, it reflects a beach scene, with dancing on the beach in a foreign exotic destination, and it's a memory that I had 3 years ago, 2 years ago, on holiday, and
where is it?
It's in Italy, and just dancing with my cousin and my sister and my dad, and trying to chat up Italians in my faulty Italian, and it was just so much fun, and it's this memory it's so strong in my head because it's such an honor and a privilege to be there, and I think that helped to keep it alive and to keep it crisp.
Awesome.
And it's just such an immersive experience to be in a dream and to be in a memory, to relive it. And I wanted the picture to also be like that, to be immersive and as big as possible to really make people walk into it and try to delve into it. Yeah.
So there's a bar, sort of a bar thing, and
there's a very cool little beach shack on the beach, and and it's super rustic, and there's this old this Italian that's been there for donkey's years, and his name is Jerry, and it's called Jerry's Beach, and he has a little shack in Jamaica and a shack in Italy, and he spends summer here and then the other summer there, and so it's quite a nice life. It's quite cool.
So I mean, so there's the sort of beach shack bar thing, and then there's sand, pitted by people's footsteps. And there's towels.
Deck chairs. And we were playing cards before we joined the crowd, and we always play cards in my family, and we just sitting on the beach chair and having a few rounds of cards, and and there's this beautiful mountain in the background, which is blending into the sky, and then the sea is also blending into the sand. And at that time of night, you don't really see the water. You just see the darkness of the water with the lighter rings of waves. Yeah.
Like what's the right word? Like it seemed like a comment on how dark and how like it's sort of quite juxtaposition, like the juxtaposition between like happy beaches and cocktails and holidaying, and then darkness and stuff. In the beginning it seemed sort of very
it makes sense, of course, but the longer you look, it changes. Change.
It's just it's not representing like darkness and hardness and maliciousness. It's just representing at night,
and I think it's a subject matter which you don't really see that often. Like, think about I'm quite inspired by Edward Hooper's Nighthawk, and this is nighttime cafe scene that Edward Hooper made, and Van Gogh, obviously he did quite a few lovely night scenes, and Toulouse-Lautrec kind of atmospheric at night. I mean, think about it. A dinner atmosphere is very different to a lunch atmosphere. There's certain magic in the night. Maybe it's because I'm also naive. I'm quite drawn to, the mystery of life and exploring and saying, oh, what's behind the door and that kind of thing. But we'll see it later on as well. It carries over into my walks on the farm or in rural area.
Okay, so image number 5.
Yeah, so this is
also in the test kitchen.
Yes, yeah, it's just a detail, just to show,
up there,
give an impression of what it looks like, because it's quite a theatrical environment to have paintings in. And anyway, these paintings are from Neisner. I've got about 5 or 6 from Neisner. And we visit my grandparents once a year, and they live on a little smallholding, and it's just part of my childhood, always going there, and there's a sense of freedom that you don't find in the city, obviously, just wandering down roads and at night or in the afternoon, and just listening to the crickets and things.
Well, while you speak, let's go to the next image, image number 6, because then people can see it up close while you're speaking.
Right. Yeah.
Go to image number 6, everyone.
Real smooth. No. But this painting is quite difficult. I mean, this painting is quite different from the others because it has no charcoal, which is rather a change, and it's difficult to explain why I didn't use charcoal, but it's a lot brighter and a lot lighter than any of the others.
But I really like the dappled, the dappled leaf shadows. It's really.
Thank you
really
so much.
cool.
Yeah, and so that was done with a brush, and then the line work was done with dipping a fountain pen into this super thick concoction of ultramarine blue
Line work
watercolor.
as in sort of on the right, sort of halfway up on the right margin.
Yes.
There's sort of like more defined sort of leaves here.
Yeah, there are lots of little
kind of
marks and things
Yeah.
to try and take it from just loose abstract, strokes to something a bit more illustrative, I guess.
Yeah, the green. I mean, the green patches really hold it together. I feel.
Interesting. Yeah, it had to happen. There had to be some green. And I see it. It's called Absorb, and I see it as a daydream for me. It's you can look at it for ages actually, and totally immerse yourself in it. I think the dappled shadow really helps in that regard. But it's something that you can sit in and relax in, and also know that it's not really perhaps reality, but it has its place. Yeah.
Seeing through rose tinted glasses, but in this case, turquoise, not turquoise, but
ultramarine glasses.
yeah.
Sure, it makes sense. Yeah, and it's as I said, it's daydream, and it's lovely. It's lovely to have daydreams like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so the more realistic or the more nighttime scene can be found on number
Cool.
1, 2, 3,
Image number 7.
6, 7. Yeah, number 7, which is quite a late night scene of me just walking past the gum trees
Yeah, I really like this one
on
as
the way
well.
back from the dam after a walk in the afternoon, and just hearing the crickets and just wandering in the neighbors' roads and just exploring.
It looks like there's sort of a flooded road in front of you.
Yeah, June, July kind of, wetness.
Yeah,
the
that's
night.
really great effect. Eh?
Thanks.
It looks,
Yeah, it's quite rapidly drawn. I think I did. That was probably the fastest drawing I made. It was.
Wow, it
took me-
doesn't see. I wouldn't have guessed that.
it was the first one I made as well. And we just came back from that environment in back in the city, and I was missing it. I was missing the freedom of the nature, and I think that's where it all started. That's with this one. Yeah.
Like, I love the water, the effect of the puddle on the path.
Yeah.
And also,
yeah.
the wall on the right hand side,
Yes.
dead center of the painting, and there's distant mountains and the flag, radio, the telephone poles, like that, and the sky, like bloody hell, like that's.
Thanks. It's got some
really
Kentridge overtones,
Yeah.
I guess. But there's a certain brightness in it as well. There's the color sets it apart, I think. And it's also cool to have these random strokes that are indicative of foliage, but aren't too descriptive either. Yeah.
Okay, image number 8.
Yeah, so this is a picture I quite enjoy, and it's it's also a Van Gogh vibe, and it depicts the House of Machines, which is a biker kind of yuppie bar, and it's awesome architecture and very very atmospheric, and I go there with my friends or people that I've got a personal connection to it. And that's kind of one of the 3 criteria that I need to make a painting is they have to have a personal connection. It has to be familiar. I'll have to go there multiple times. And the third one is that it has to be a memorable experience. Like a cool live concert in this regard, in this context, or meeting someone interesting, or it's those 3 factors. And so there's someone sitting in the middle, with a solitary person sitting at the table, and not sure who it is, but it's not necessary to know, and also not to describe too much. All that's important to know is that it's a human, and that it's it's alive and warm and
Going about its human business.
It's true, as we do, as one does.
Yeah.
True.
And as we are doing as well, because we are as the viewer, we there's our glass right there.
Exactly. It's something to pull it forward, to have something. Foreground, middle ground, background.
And there's the House of Machines logo at the top left.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's also obscure.
But classily obscured.
That's true.
So that you're painting.
I don't want to try too hard. Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
They haven't given me any
it's not like
sponsorship or anything.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So they don't owe them anything.
What I really like is the vanishing point of the street.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
there's
cool.
and there's little fairy lights on the right.
It makes you want to walk down the street and see what's around the corner, and like in Italy, you've been to like Verona or something like that.
Florence, yeah.
Yeah, sort of like the inner old cities.
Yeah.
Everything is so picturesque.
Absolutely.
Every apart from wanting to photograph every door, you everything's so picturesque that you kind of find yourself drawn to walking down every street. You're like, what's around that corner? It must be something cool,
Yeah.
Well, that's what that feels
Yeah,
like.
so you can't really walk around at nights in town very often, but it's a similar vibe, especially on that street, going to Green Market Square, further down the road. You kind of, it's so recognizable, and very European, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of a sort of back street being used completely
Yes.
by bollards and a tree,
Yeah.
As a walkway kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very European.
And also, especially in the next one, number 9.
Cool. Image number 9. We're on to image number 9.
It's full of people, it's so much warmth going on, and this is after a couple more drinks, as you can imagine.
Everything's a little bit more...
tiny bit more hazy.
Everything's more hazy, yes.
Yeah, but it's just full of life, and during lockdown we didn't have much of that. It was just us and family or whatever, and if you live alone it's worse, I guess. But this is like an interlude, between that, and you kind of remember that there is something out there, that there's still lots of lots of warmth to be experienced, and it's a hopeful drawing. Yeah.
So you did this during lockdown. So
It was after there was a concert, Jack Parra concert, and I had to be there, so I just went. And not a big fan of Jack Parra personally, but it's just I had the intention of making a painting of the scene, and I knew that it would be an awesome vibe, and I met a friend there, and we just had a great time, and just letting your hair down, and enjoying the loud music, and shouting in each other's ears, and my friend is sitting on the left there he's got a bad knee, so he put it up on the chair, and these, just after a couple of hours, you just had enough of the walking around, and you just sit down and you just observe, and absorb all these interesting people walking past, and just sink back and chill, and
But it captures that like close knit. Everything is very busy going on, at a concert.
Sure.
Okay,
And
image
also
number 10.
one more thing is that I added a lot more color in this one than the others. So there's not only ultramarine. So there's yellow, and there's coffee, and there's red and purple, and also pastel at the end. Yeah. And it's also not too illustrative. It's more obscure, which I find is important. And I'm gonna try and make more of these that are more chaotic.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Image number 10.
More live concerts to go to.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh my gosh, let's not go there. But this is a scene. I don't know if you can recognize it.
Okay, image number 10 for people who...
I'll give you 10 seconds, viewer. I guess long enough. It's first beach in Clifton. And
you overestimate people's abilities on Instagram.
Miss work for it, people. And this is a diptych. And how big is it? It's like, I can't remember. I think it's 70 by 90 or so. And it's quite dark because it was late at night. I spent a bit of time there, and it was very late at night, and I couldn't sleep because the waves were so loud. And I was sleeping next to the window, and I just sat up, and I drew in my sketchbook during the night, and I put a little candle on and had a glass of wine, and it was very late, and it was just this very theatrical environment with lots of little lights in the background. And
Clifton, which one?
First Beach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And all the blocks of flats were casting different types of lights onto the beach, yellow and then bluer and more red, and it's very interesting. And as you can see, the waves are not, they're less like waves and more like light bars in a dark kind of pool. So it's interesting how the sea changes. And go back there. It's very immersive.
Like the sky, lightening
Yeah,
over the...
yeah. Wispy clouds, actually.
Yeah.
And the moon was catching the clouds from the back of the mountain, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
and that was actually the night that the police took all the people off the beaches.
Oh, yeah. So it must have been quite eerie.
It was very eerie, and at sunset there were millions of little footsteps everywhere, but no people.
Yeah.
So just sitting by the window, and it's so weird.
I mean, in a lot of in a lot of your work, like I'm vacillating between it being eerie and it being, oh no, it's just it's just charcoal,
Yeah.
it's just charcoal rendition of something that's completely normal,
Yeah.
But this is quite eerie,
It is, and it's a foreign kind of scene for me as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't go there often.
But also, now that you mention it, no one on the beach, no one on Clifton.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's nuts.
pretty
So nuts.
unheard of.
Yeah. So that was quite an eerie day, I guess. Or time. Just
Yeah,
observing
lockdown
all
was
the
pretty
cops.
eerie.
I think it's important to know that there's still so much out there, and so much humanity and compassion left in the world,
Yeah,
especially in South Africa, where everyone is friendly and, well, not everyone, but just coming back to college has really reminded me, that this is still really great times to be had. Despite COVID. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's important to meet new people and like you, and just experience new things.
Yeah.
And not let COVID be the excuse that's
They just stay at home
that you
and
stop living.
Yeah, everything is so remote now.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
good to. That's why I do these in person. Like
Yes.
as well as it being fun to do. Also
Yeah.
want to meet people as well. Also want to make connections in the art world and stuff. And
Yes.
like it's
very different.
yeah.
It's
I
way
mean,
better, yeah.
Zoom interviews, Zoom podcast
can't
interviews
imagine.
are
Yeah.
terrible. I mean, as
Yeah.
you can imagine, like there's no sort of
Sure.
camaraderie. There's no sort of like
No
electric.
banter.
Yeah, no, it's not banter because like
Sure.
everything is just like.
It's so stilted. Yeah.
Yeah, stilted. Yes, that's a good word. Okay, cool. So let's go on to the a medium fire round of questions, basically.
Ooh.
So these are, you could answer them in a few words if you like, or we could go on a tangent.
Okay.
And,
Sounds good.
Okay, and you haven't seen them. Oh wait, you have listened to the whole podcast.
Um,
See, normally the guests haven't listened to the podcast.
I didn't listen to the end.
Okay, cool.
This is the first hour of Swains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you missed the good part.
Yeah, it seems so.
Yeah.
Seems so.
Anyone
to go
listening,
back.
if you want to listen to only half of the 2-hour podcast, listen to the second half. Because that's the part where we discuss the paintings and we do the quick fire round of questions.
Okay.
So is there something you would advise young artists to cultivate early?
Drawing in sketchbooks. Yeah. Always carry a sketchbook.
Just,
Yeah, just as a point,
Yeah.
Always draw in sketchbooks. Yeah. Yeah, the ugly person across the room from you, or your lecturer, or anyone. Just draw.
Oh, you do like some cartoon-ish stuff as well.
Yeah. I'm quite a.
So we haven't included any, in these pictures, but you can
True.
look
Yeah,
at
you
Mike's.
must look at my Instagram.
Yeah,
and,
it's very funny. Like you could easily have a career in like political commentary cartoons and commissions of
Sure.
normal,
Yeah, I quite enjoy making jazz concert posters for the shop opposite Test Kitchen.
Yeah.
So every Sunday they have this jazzy afternoon
Yeah.
with a band and cool atmosphere, and so that's my latest gig is
Awesome.
just making posters. I always wanted to make posters, so
Cool.
it's fun to draw the musicians in different ways every week or whatever, and get a free pizza in return. So it's a good deal. It's a good deal.
I used to play piano.
Yeah.
The Octopus Garden. I don't know if it's still around in Cork Bay.
Not actually sure.
Yeah, and you get paid and you get a pizza.
Sure.
It was great.
Sure, it's great.
Yeah.
Hey, you must join me sometime.
Okay, cool.
And there's
Awesome.
also the second half is a jam session.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
always
so
interesting people.
Someone might, hope no one knows me. They won't ask me to play.
from your octopus days.
No, from my jazz college days.
Well, yeah, a lot of them are jazz people from UCT.
Exactly. So
yeah.
Who's your favorite artist and why?
Yo,
Normally a difficult question.
that is so difficult. Well, at the moment, it's jeez, I'm quite into Lautrec right now, and it's because he captures the environment very very well. You can there's a lot of movements and energy and color, but
So-
also not too much.
Something that you want to agglomerate into your style.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, I guess, and also there's a artist that I'm thinking about a lot these days is Temba Kumalo, who's an artist in Joburg, and I'm writing my third year paper on him. So I've been.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I handed it in I handed the draft in yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'm quite chuffed. It's new man now. But yeah, he's also, he does charcoal paintings. And I'm very inspired by him and yeah, his angle.
Awesome.
And yeah, a lot of humanity in his work.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting that you didn't say one of the
very
greats. You know, interesting
Yeah.
that you chose someone who's, you know, modern and
Sure.
working in just, you know,
Yeah,
in South Africa as well. But if you were to choose one of the greats,
sure. Well, I'd say Degas
okay.
or Van Gogh, obviously.
Yeah.
Or Schiller is quite cool.
Okay.
Egon Schiller does pretty awesome life drawings. I'm actually going to a life drawing session tonight, so I'm super keen.
Awesome.
I'm gonna try and embrace my inner
You're living
inner
your
Schiller.
life. Living the artist's life.
Being rebels. Yeah.
So you're drawing a nude, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Cool. Awesome.
If you wanna join.
Nah, I gotta hit the gym before that'll happen.
Boring.
Natural creativity or determination? Or what's the split?
I think natural creativity does count for something.
Yeah.
But I think, well, I started at a young age. Well, my parents encouraged me to start from a very young age, so that helped a lot. Just having supportive environment. But then again, I mean, Temba Kumalo started later on in life, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, there's definitely definitely determination helps, and
Yeah, like you
good
gotta, like,
teachers and
Even if you're really, really talented, you gotta get up every day and you gotta
you
pitch
gotta
up. You know, you gotta.
enjoy it and practice.
But even when you're not enjoying it, sometimes you have to do the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
I don't know.
I'm not very good at that.
Slightly market yourself a bit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just do things you don't necessarily want to do.
Yes,
You
it's
know.
very true.
With anything, like people can be very gifted at mathematics, but they don't come to anything because they don't have the determination to do the things they don't want to do in the name of a goal, a long-term goal. You know.
Yes.
If you weren't involved in art, what would you be doing?
I honestly have no clue whatsoever. Sure.
I don't know the
Sure.
feeling.
Damn, I have no idea.
That's very freeing, though. It's like a little bit scary, but it's
Yeah.
very freeing
Shiz.
because you know what you're supposed to be doing
Honestly.
in life.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
literally. Yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I don't know anything else to do.
Yeah, I mean, you could say something mundane like, I don't know.
Let's see. I'll say sommelier. Wine sommelier.
Okay, yeah.
That's probably
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. or a vinyl DJ.
Awesome.
Yeah. Are you happy now?
Wiki.
Oh, race car driver.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
totally racing.
Awesome.
Well,
Like
in my dreams. In my dreams.
Live on the edge, eh?
That's me.
You know, with like when they can hook computers up to your brain.
Yeah.
Then
Neuralink.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then you can be whatever you want, you know.
Yeah, because then everything will change, I guess.
Yeah, but people are always saying. So that brings up quite a good conversation, which is like, people are always saying like, once machines can do what we do completely.
Yes.
Once there is general artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
That and often you see like really like nice, well, semi-decent classical pieces and like art and stuff made by machines, made by computers.
Yeah.
And then I just go, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I just don't care. Like,
Literally. Honestly, and then this whole craze about making machines that look like humans is such a waste of time.
it's so weird.
Such a
It's
marketing
so weird.
ploy.
So
Honestly.
weird.
What are they trying to achieve?
Yeah, I think that for a good couple of years, it probably should make a distinction, you know, between
Yeah.
until we can prove that like the thing is sentient.
Yes, yeah.
If you could have 3 artists, dead or alive, over for dinner, who would they be?
Sure. So I would like to have a conversation with Monet.
Yeah.
And
Slightly before he was like very old.
Yeah. No, actually, I think when he's really old.
Okay.
When he's like pretty blind.
Oh yes. Okay.
Sounds fun actually.
Yeah.
Because he also worked less and less realistically as he went older. And I think that's what all artists eventually do, is work less and less. And Suzanne would be awesome to talk to. And then again,
Suzanne,
MF Doom would be quite fun to talk to on a musical level.
Who?
MF Doom.
Who's that?
So cool.
There's another one.
No, he's a rapper.
It's just like Jack Sparrow that you're such a fan
No,
of.
he's the person that Jack Sparrow copied.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's like,
okay.
MF Doom is the
Yo, shots
real
fired.
guy. He's...
Oh, I was seeing your Instagram as well. Like, you got some, like, other sort of cartoon rap stuff on there.
That's MF Doom.
Like, it's quite, like...
It's pretty dope.
It's cool to see, like, you're not just the typical, like... stereotyped like artist, young
I don't
tortured
only
artist.
paint nature scenes, guys.
Yeah,
I'm also interested in the odd rap song.
Yeah, and like street stuff. Like I love graffiti.
Yeah.
I've got graffiti on my wall in my flat.
Oh, cool. I was part of a graffiti festival.
Oh yeah.
2 years ago, iPath.
Oh, you must. If you know anyone like who wants to come on the podcast,
Yeah.
I want to have some graffiti artist. A graffiti artist who's selling paintings as well, not just
No,
murals.
I've got the person in mind.
Well, I'll check him out and then
I'll
hopefully
send
come
it
on,
to
because
you.
I really
I'll
want
send it
this to be, multi disciplinary and not my personal like,
tastes
not
either,
my personal exact, not my specially curated exactly what I like
Right.
podcasts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So you must have a long list of people to ask.
I have a long list of people
Sure.
already, but
So I mean, every guest must give you a list. As well.
yeah.
Sure.
So let's do the rapid fire no think yes or no round
Okay.
questions.
Ready.
Okay, so you can't think about these ones. You just
Okay.
have to go yes or no.
Okay.
There'll be 1 million people on Mars before we die.
Yes.
Work-life balance
It's not a yes or no.
as an artist.
Oh, work-life balance.
Yeah. Should you work all the time if you want to achieve
Oh,
your goals, or
oh.
should you?
Life. Because life will feed into your work.
So you say yes to work-life balance.
I don't actually know what that means.
It means
Work. I mean, that doesn't
should you
actually mean anything.
should you have a good balance between like
Or should you not?
doing other things, or should you work mostly all the time?
Oh, well, I'm not really one for working all the time. So I'll
So
say
you would
yes.
say because you would say that like as an artist, like your
I mean,
experiences.
This is all about experiences.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
I kind of reached a point in December where I'd gone through all my memories. If you know what I mean. Like all the aesthetic memories were already taken.
Yeah.
So I was a bit stumped.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, because in maybe in the Renaissance or maybe like you could say no, spend your whole life perfecting
Yes, a
technique.
certain style. Yeah,
Whereas
of
these
course.
days it's more about like the person. What does the person experience?
The individual.
Like, what do they bring into like, their life journey? What can they bring to art using their life journey?
Yeah.
Rather than like pure technicalities.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
you
just
would
about
say there
perspective
is
anymore.
so as an artist, you do need a work-life balance because you need
Totally.
something to tell.
Yeah.
You need a story to tell. Like you need something of substance to show the world, not just technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Cool.
That is more than just yes or no.
Yes, definitely. I think
Yes.
we're gonna have to cut that way down. One day, people won't age past their prime.
Yes.
People should give up shaking hands forever.
No.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast
Thank you. It was
and
such a
having me
great time.
here, and it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, man.
Cool. Thank
Oh
you.
wait, I have a question for you. Which painting excites you the most, or do none of them?
Of yours?
Yeah.
I like the blue one, and I like the one with the bit watery effect.
Okay, yeah.
Very picturesque.
Cool.
Like
Awesome.
I often like, it's like rainy. It like really speaks to
Yeah.
me. Like I often have that.
Right.
Like where I live, like in Rondebosch, right by UCT, is like quite. It's very like lush and green, and
Yes.
when it rains, it's very picturesque.
Sure.
And they haven't installed LED lights in the street lights yet, so it's still sort of very sort of
Warm.
warm,
Nice.
amazing candlelight almost, and when
Sure.
it's pelting down with rain.
I don't know why people
it's
don't
very
do that
lush.
anymore. Honestly,
You know
like,
what?
all downlighters should be warm, and all like flip.
Yeah. So
It's not aesthetic at all.
yeah, it'd be very sad because that part of your underbrush is very sort of leafy and very like academic, like very sort of
academic.
like academic leafy, you know, like very like Ivy League, you know, like Ivy.
Sure.
So and lots of ivy everywhere, and the bright LED lights would really kill
Hospital
that.
lights, it's nasty.
Oh, hectic. Cool.
And that was a blender in the background.
Yeah.
Blending. What do you think they're blending right now?
Blending charcoal with coffee.
Charcoal. Put a watercolor in there.
Existentialism.
Neoliberalism textbooks.
Okay, let's stop.